Hey guys, it's Lainey, and today I'm doing a book review. I'm going to be doing my non-spoiler review on The Young World by Chris WEITZ. This is his first novel. This is a dystopian, survival, post-apocalyptic road trip adventure story. That's all you need to know because it's amazing. I rated this book a 5 out of 5. I was going to rate it a 4 out of 5, but then towards the last, 50 pages, I realized I had no idea how this book was going to end, and the ending is such a cliffhanger. You're gonna hate yourself after you finish it. Because I remember sitting there in my bed after I finished it thinking, what the fuck? This was written by Chris WEITZ. This is his first young adult novel. He is a director. He directed the Twilight Saga New Moon movie, as well as some others. Because I knew that going into it, I was actually really excited to read it. Because he's a screenwriter slash director, I felt like he was going to have a different take and a different insight into a certain kind of writing style of how to visually bring us this kind of story. I have to say I was not disappointed. First, I should tell you what this story is actually about. 2 years ago, the world came down with this sickness. This sickness infected adults as well as children. But who wasn't affected by this sickness was teenagers. When you're 18, you kind of start having these symptoms and then you die. So you never live past 18 years old. 2 years later, basically teenagers, they've been divided into tribes and they kind of just keep to themselves, staying within their tribes. Setting this takes place in is New York City. We follow the tribe of Washington Square Park, and this is told in two perspectives. The first one is Jefferson, and the second one is Donna. Now, Jefferson is the newly elected leader of this Washington Square Park tribe, and Donna is his childhood friend who he kind of does really have a crush on her. She is kind of just a badass chick who's also the tribe doctor. There's those two that is in their perspective. However, because this is a road trip story, there's other characters in this book. And basically, these teenagers that are all rounded together, they are trying to find the cure to the sickness so that they can live longer. What I really liked about the characters is that the characters are very, very diverse. I mean, this easily could have been a story about 5 white kids going to try to find the cure. However, Jefferson is half Japanese, half American. Donna, I'm pretty sure she's just American, but Peter, who's also one of the kids, he is an African American and he's also gay, so that also brings in more identities as well. And then another girl, See-Through, she is Chinese, and Brainbox, who's another character, I'm pretty sure he's just also American. But there's still just like a great range of different types of characters, different personalities and different identities, which I really, really liked because I feel like this easily could have slipped into just 5 white kids. Moving on to the perspectives really quick, because I feel like I should probably say this. Jefferson's narrative is told very much like a story narrative. However, Donna's is told a little bit differently, and I feel like either people are really going to like her voice or they're really going to hate it. I really, really enjoyed it. Her dialogue is written differently, almost like a screenplay-like kind of way, but not really. Both Donna and Jefferson's voices are very fresh and very teenager-like, but I also feel like some people might not like that. However, I did. There were a lot of really great pulp culture references in this book. They mentioned Game of Thrones, they mentioned Lord of the Rings, they mentioned Mad Max, they mentioned, Lord of the Flies, their Twitter, iPhones. They mentioned 50 Shades of Grey a few times, they mentioned Twilight, kind of indirectly, which I chuckled because obviously the author directed one of the movies. I really liked the references because I felt, as much as that dates this book, it's very, relatable, because I know all those things. I know all those movies, all those video games that these characters are mentioning, and it makes me feel super close to the characters and really relatable to the characters. But again, I can see people either really liking that part of the story or really hating it. When I was tweeting about this book, saying how I was reading it, how much I was enjoying it, Max from Well Done Books, he tweeted at me saying, is it a typical dystopian story? He wants to know if the plot's original. It doesn't seem like the plot's original about kids looking for a cure. Basically, that's like, I feel like that's the skeletal plot. There's so much more that goes into it, and what I absolutely loved about this book was the descriptions and how the characters went from each and every section of the story, and it was like a new, fresh told story, and it was just so visual. I'm going to compare Chris WEITZ's descriptions to Marie Lu's, because I always said Marie Lu's writing style for like Legend and Prodigy and Champion are so visual that you can literally see the movie playing in your mind. And I feel like this, The Young World, is so much like that. You can literally see this movie playing in your head. The descriptions, the settings are so vivid that you feel like you're there. I've never read settings more descriptive than this one, because I could picture everything. I could picture every place they were at, and it was so perfect. I loved it. I felt like it's also very visual because he's a director and he sees things, you know, in a different way, a different angle, and I think that worked really well in his benefit because it was a very visual story. Yeah, so back to the plot. While Kids Looking for a Cure might not sound original, it is very original. Don't think I have read a dystopian like this before. I would like to compare it to the Razorland trilogy by Annie Guire, but it's nothing like that, obviously, because there are zombies in there and there's obviously no zombies in here. But just the aspect of these kids trying to make it in a world where you really can't trust anybody and people are like pretty dark, where you're fighting for your life and you could die at any moment. The story's darkness, the tone, it was just, it reminded me so much of the Enclave series. In all honesty, it was a pretty original story. There were things that were happening in here that, you know, I never expected or I wasn't guessing right. Again, I love the cast of characters. They were all so very different in their personalities that they meshed so well together, especially Jefferson and Donna. Jefferson is kind of like the good guy and Donna's just like a little out there, so for some reason those two personalities were so enjoyable to read about because they were just so different that their interactions with each other were so funny, heartbreaking, all at the same time. Have I convinced you to read this book yet? Because I really think you should. I know a lot of people have been waiting for this review, so I would definitely recommend it, especially because I love dystopian so much. I felt like this was a really great fresh take on the dystopian genre, and I hope you guys read it. Let me know down below if you plan on reading it, if you have it, if you've read it. I would love to know what you guys thought of it. I just really hope you guys liked this review and it helped you maybe decide if you wanted it or not. I hope you guys all have a great day, and I will see you guys later. Bye!